Just a long lost look in your eyes brings out a love that I can't disguise. So take me down to the places I've never seen. Or don't you try to kill me with kind. It's just your love that's driving me wild. Oh, from the dawn we rise, with the heart we cry, into the light we go, into the light we go. From the darkest night, from the fire inside, into the light we go, into the light we go, into the light we go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at Spo TV bringing you some more 2018 LCK Spring. We got a couple of great matchups tonight, Papa. We got ROX Tigers versus KT Rolster, and later on, we got SKT making another chance here up against FLICKR. That should be a fun one as well.
Yeah, SKT against their old enemies. Usually it was FLICKR versus Marin. Now Marin is there, and SKT are in this tumultuous spot. This week could be one of the blackest in history for the SKT organization if they're not able to get into the light. The darkness right now does seem to envelop SKT.
It definitely does, but we do have a match to go ahead of that one. As I mentioned, ROX Tigers versus KT Rolster. ROX, they were looking like a little bit better than last year, but we'll see how they do. Let's introduce our teams first off. Well, ROX Tigers here in the booth, looking good, ready to go. They got a very hard opponent up ahead of them, and some more hard opponents in the future as well.
That's kind of the thing for ROX. They lost to SKT first up. From there, beat BBQ and Kongdo, and we said, okay, maybe we've misjudged the ROX Tigers. But after that, a loss to FLICKR, a smashing by Kingzone, and right now, they're against some of our most difficult teams in the league to face. Today, it's KT Rolster.
Yeah, when you're in the LCK, there aren't that many weak teams, to be honest, and sometimes you just get streaks of them in a row. Even if FLICKR is looking better. They go down 0-2 to them, go down 0-2 to KZ, as you mentioned. I wouldn't be surprised to see a similar result tonight. KT looking more solid and not really being as inconsistent as they were at times last year.
Cheerful's are really cool. SeongHwan had the Jacks cheerful. At the end of the day, you know, same roster here. They're going to struggle, you'd have to think, but let's introduce their opponents. KT have that big matchup, Valdez, on Wednesday, but KT have been guilty in the past of looking past one of these smaller matches and looking forward to the major one. I think of the Telecom War a year ago where they lost to MVP in the Gangnam Stadium a couple of days before they faced SKT for the first time. Today, they have to take down ROX Tigers in confident fashion if they're going to actually pose a real threat to Kingzone Dragon X.
Well, they've been looking good so far. I wouldn't be surprised to see them do well tonight. But as you said, it definitely stands that sometimes they go up against weaker teams and you're just like, whoa, did we get too excited? What exactly happened to this KT team? Sometimes it's Deft getting caught out. Sometimes it's Pawn losing in the mid lane. You know, It's never really Smeb, though, in the top lane, funnily enough.
I mean, the good news story is there's not really anyone, there's consensus for people to point their fingers at.
Exactly.
Largely, people have been good. Score started off the season a bit slow. We saw Maokai killed a couple of times when Smeb was playing it, but it didn't impact the result. When they got to the late games, they were actually pretty solid. And that's why I think there is general optimism around KT. Whereas when you look at ROX Tigers, KSV, KT Rolster, and also Kingzone, that's about as rough a schedule as you could ask for with how the results are panning out this season.
Yeah, you can see that they already went down 0-2 to Kingzone, and it wasn't close, as we mentioned before. It was one of the biggest stomps we've had of LCK Spring 2018 so far. So it's not, I mean, it might get easier from here on out. Kingzone, in my eyes, is definitely the #1 team right now, but KT Rolster and KSV.
I know what's on your mind, Brendan.
I finally did it one time. I knew it would happen. They're just right behind KC. They're very, very close.
Yeah, Lindarang started off this season pretty strong. He and SeongHwan, his longtime duo from the jungle, were looking good. And in general, his numbers are up. You can see from 2018 compared to 2017. Along with his team, there is better performances. But, you know, he kind of got his ass handed to him last time out by Khan. And now it's Smeb, who isn't playing the carries, but we're kind of waiting for the carries. Is he looking forward? I saw in his solo queue a Riven game, and I was like, I wonder what's going on with Smeb. But Lindarang has gotten more solid. Now he faces stiff opposition. Consider that 3 sets in a row, he goes from Khan to Smeb to QV. Good luck.
Good luck, sir. Exactly. We're going to take a look at KT's great performance so far. Gold per minute at 4th. Gold difference at 15-second, and damage per minute is 1st. They like to get aggressive. They like to get in there, and they certainly are doing a lot of damage, Papa.
I'm very amused by the fact that the DPM looks like a date of birth, 1997. I'm sure some of the people on Twitch chat were born in that year, but it's 1st, right? It's a lot of damage. In general, they play a lot of poke. They play a lot of Azir, of course, which does increase the DPM numbers. Let's see where they want to go in the draft today. KT, I think around Smeb, to me, is the greatest interest because Smeb has largely been on the Maokai most recently. But everyone here is playing something as a primary champion. Malzahar and Azir for Pawn, Ezreal for Deft. They also have new champs that we're hopefully going to see unleashed. And we look at the supporters. We got, on the one side, Key, you know, a name that some people know, especially from his time on ESC Ever and his famous Bard. And then you've got Mata, synonymous with the support role.
Mata doing his thing, you know. I'd like to see the numbers compared to everyone else in the league as well. We don't really have that on hand. But you can see that Key is very close to Mata, at least. The stats don't really tell the whole story, though, as Mata certainly has had a bigger impact on the Rift in the games that KT has been playing. Yeah,
I love to support Ornn. Tom Kench largely been his picks on Disengage. The Taric highlighted in the Cheerful. Be very popular with the ROX fans. Almost a full house here, the ROX Tigers fans here, the KT faithful, hoping this would be another step towards that match against Kingzone Dragon X that I think everyone, when they look at the calendar, is looking forward to.
And we do have an anniversary of sorts for Key. I actually missed if it was his birthday or his debut anniversary. Did you catch it, Papa?
Let's say it's his day. He gets a day.
It's Key Day today. Key points, Key Day. And he's going to have a key day. He is going up against Mata and Deft in the bottom lane.
And that's kind of thing is the duo, Deft and Mata. Their reputation certainly precedes them, but this season, I'd actually say that KT have been playing through bot lane more than previously. Deft and Mata, even in games where Smeb is dying 3 times in 7 minutes, Deft and Mata have been performing. They have been linchpins. They haven't been throwing in the late game like, unfortunately, Deft was guilty of last year. So seeing that improvement, Sangyoon and Key are one of the strengths of ROX Tigers. You could also see KT Rolster using their strength against them because Deft and Mata are world class.
Yep, so guys, we are going to get into the pick and ban of game number 1. I'm excited to get into this one. KT versus ROX. Let's do it. We're going to be starting off with ROX on the blue side, and they have done their research here. Going to ban out the Jax. So far scored 3-0 on that pick. Got to take that away.
Banning away the Ultra Comfort, like you say, Valdez. Speaking of comfort, Lindarang has been drawing a lot of Vladimir bans, and in general, we've seen Vladimir banned almost exclusively in the second half of Week 3. So one of the big adaptations does mean that priority and also Gangplank priority will go up, so we'll see how that tracks out. had a lot of mid lane focus in yesterday's games. Malzahar taken away here. Lava's been playing some new stuff in solo queue. We know about his Galio. Believe that will be a first pick if left open, but it's going to be banned away again. I've been noticing Veigar, and I'd love to see some Veigar play after we got, what, one series where we had Veigar versus Azir twice in a row. Since then, no Veigar.
Yeah, Pawn definitely one of the first to bring him out over in the Caspa Cup, saying, hey, this is actually a good pick, Unsealed Spellbook. You can get the nice cooldowns on your flash just to engage on people and for that escape as well. Definitely something we might see here. Braum, another big pick down on the support side, and based on our slides earlier, and the supports doing their great job, he and Mata going to be banned out here.
In case you're joining us after watching some NA and EU action, we are still on patch 8.1, guys. We have not updated to 8.2 yet, expected to be on Tuesday. So, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, patch 8.1, still going to be Relic Shield bot lanes, no Kalista in the bot lane for game 1, so Ezreal and Kog'Maw, the two big AD carries available.
Deft, very scary on the Ezreal. I wouldn't want to give that away. The question is Sangyoon very comfortable on that pick, or do they just go for something else, such as the Zoe?
You'd also be giving up Sejuani in this situation, but Zoe and Kha'Zix have some synergy, and SeongHwan is known for his Kha'Zix. So I'm interested to see, because KT in the past would highly prioritize the Kha'Zix for score, but this season, he's 0-2 on the pick. They've already banned away the Galio. That's best friends forever with that Kha'Zix. So you'd imagine Sejuani priority would be high for KT Rolster. See what Pawn's answer is to the Zoe as well. Azir, been one of the standard lanes. Ryze also available, so a lot of pseudo capable lanes, not lane counters, but still strong lanes available. This is going to take away the Gangplank as a power pick in the top side and allow Lindarang to once again take on the lane bully role.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that Zoe first pick with all the other power picks available that you were talking about. We've seen a lot of Galio and Malzahar recently being picked into the Zoe, so with both of those banned, they say, hey, let's just go ahead and pick that up. But as I said before, you're giving Deft one of his main picks on the Ezreal.
So that means they give up the Sejuani. If ROX want to take it, they could still take Kha'Zix over Sejuani because it's ROX Tigers who want to snowball top side and Kha'Zix's ability to really train through a top laner like the Gangplank. So we'll see if KT's trying to play a dangerous game here, opting into potentially a lot of top lane focus on the side of ROX Tigers. So we are going to go with the top 3 AD carries accounted for. Kalista banned, Ezreal versus Kog'Maw as the matchup. ROX Tigers a lot of comfort in playing around Sangyoon. To what degree we don't know yet. The genesis of the draft hasn't fully been completed here. Would expect to see either a top lane matchup into Gnar or a jungler prized here. Sejuani, we mentioned a couple of times, is going to be taken. So they're going to halt down maybe some of the attention towards top side. Still can play around top with the fleet footwork. It's not quite the Kha'Zix, as I wanted some Veigar. It's flashed for a moment.
Lots of different picks flashed here, even the Jayce. But it is just going to be the Ryze, as you did expect. Good matchup into the Zoe, but also nice side lane presence. We are going to get into the second phase of banning here. Still no supports picked with that Braum banned earlier, so we might see some extra Braum bans here.
KT have the LCK 2018 special. The Gangplank who can influence other lanes without teleporting. Ryze who can take teleport and has a semi-global. Rotations, rotations, rotations for KT Rolster in this game. A lot of options already. And a safe laning matchup in the mid lane for the Ryze. So a lot to like about the draft so far. ROX still putting things together. Gnar banned away on red side, so that's not going to be the one counter pick available against the Gangplank, but it's turning into more of a comfort lane for Gangplank around the world, and specifically in Korea. So Lindarang looking at his champion pool, the Vladimir ban, the GP accounted for. Camille was the most likely, it's taken away, and now, unless you really want to opt into something like a Jayce, Jayce and Ornn kind of loom as the most likely picks for Lindarang based on what he's playing this season.
I'd love to see Lindarang try his hand once again at the Jayce. Didn't have too much success. I don't really know what the sign is about. It says Smeb.
It's just
two like Smeb faces that did not look very nice, kind of disgruntled Smebs.
We know that Smeb likes to scream and get involved. So I think it's just talking about some of the social media clips. And an Ornn takeaway. This is going to be an Ornn support. Mata looked good on it. Either it's going to be a takeaway or just a mind game here by KT Rolster. We'll wait for it to be locked in, but Mata had a really strong game on the Ornn. Give them even more long-range, non-committal initiation it's going to be taken away. So now Lindarang is stretched a little bit here. He's been one of their strengths. He's been better, more improved, as the SpoTV overlay suggested. Now we're in this weird spot where you wonder, what do you opt into to not give the Gangplank a free lane? Riven, of course, was the famous choice from Khan. Not sure if Lindarang's feeling confident enough for that. But we're seeing a team fight come in, so maybe it's just a tank top lane and a focus on fights.
Yeah, they already have a couple of nice carries in the way of Zoe and Kog'Maw. They don't exactly need too much more damage. They have the burst damage with the Zoe, the sustained damage with the Kog'Maw, so if you can protect him, would be a nice job. But seems like Lindarang might want to play for lane here, try to dominate the Gangplank up in the top side. Let's see if they actually lock in the Jayce. There it is. We are going to have Lindarang on Jayce once again. Because
they have Taric, their options around Baron increase. Sejuani and or Taric can be tanking it, so they feel confident enough to pick for lane against KT Rolster. But definitely if ROX have the Jayce fall behind, they'll be in struggle street, and then you see KT Rolster, who have scaling, strong long-range initiation. They have so many options here. The only potential weakness is if we see a lot of front foot play around the enemy red side jungle, try to counter jungle score. Counter jungling as Zac was kind of perfected to an art by both SKT and Longzhu as we got to the end of summer 2017. So we'll see if they can make score accountable. If I see a safe farming phase for KT Rolster, how can you look past such a power draft in Korea?
Very, very true. While you were talking, I was taking a look at the coaches. The ROX Tiger coach is just non-stop talking, and he was doing a lot of arm movements, such as, you know, try to stick together as a team, stuff like that. And seems like he's very passionate in the booth. Having a leader like that would be very nice for one of these teams that's trying to get off the ground once again.
Whereas KT Rolster's always seemed a bit about player power. They have so many voices, so many veterans on the lineup. Looking strong, but these drafts are very interesting. There's definitely a way to win with the ROX Tigers comp. Their siege is incredible. Jayce and Zoe poking, and
so
Kog'Maw
good.
can help with the siege as well. Getting through to that phase and avoiding the map play. If KT get the first turret with the Gangplank, the Ryze, all the headaches that can be posed, if the Zac is leaping out of vision, you really do shudder to think of how a siege comp will go against KT Rolsters. But if they can get ahead with good lanes, they do have options to try to snowball the game.
Yeah, you were talking about that engage, not just the Zac, but also Mata on the Ornn. He looked so good on that the first time he played it. And yeah, it's still not nerfed on this patch, 8.1. Still very, very low cooldown on his ultimate, especially late game. So definitely look for some of those kinds of engages.
Undertime, let's get into it. One more day of 8.1, one more day of full power Ornn. I'm expecting a lot of ults.
Yeah, let's do it, Papa. We're going to jump into game number 1. The countdown has started. ROX Tigers versus KT Rolster on the Rift. Fans are out in full force today. Pretty much a full crowd here. Actually, even the second floor has got lined up in the back. All the seats are taken.
What's better to do on a lazy Sunday evening than to come out and watch some telecom war teams play League of Legends? Should be a fun day's matches. The second one, probably the most tantalizing one with SKT's woes recently. But KT and them actually focusing on an intermediate opponent before they reach that hype matchup versus Kingzone Dragon X next Wednesday have to be focused on. In this same exact spot a year ago, they lost to MVP and lost some momentum going into that first telecom war. Now with that other opponent, can they focus on beating the first team at hand?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the teams on paper, seems like an easy enough win for KT, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Seeing an interesting start here spotted out by KT Rolster, so aggressive invade and just a red buff take. This might actually force vertical jungling. That's a really big benefit for Jayce, because if he knows that Zac can't play topside, he can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to respect Zac coming from any sort of brush, where Zac might be able to make the Kog'Maw accountable on the bot side. So that's the way this is going to go with this sort of start, and when it's spotted out, there's no reason for Zac to go and contest his top camps. He's Zac, he uses his escape to initiate and clear the jungle, so he doesn't want to fight and skirmish early, so it makes sense for them to surrender extra control and makes Smeb's life a little bit harder.
Yeah. He'll just be passively farming up on the top side, trying not to die against the Jayce. We did get a look at the recent results between these two teams. ROX Tigers do have 3 game wins over KT, and they actually won the last match 2-1. So hopefully they have that in the back of their minds. Like, we've defeated this lineup before, we can definitely do it again.
Interesting to see that despite the ability to just go for a play on the bot side, because the lanes are so strong here, specifically the Zoe in the mid lane, and also the fact that bot lane was pushing up this early in the game, he's actually going to give up a buff. He's going to give up and be 3 buffed here, score, kind of indicating he knows his role. He understands that they are very much trying to scale. They do not want to skirmish under any means necessary. And that will mean that Pawn will also be able to get his first back in. So you think about why you would give up a buff. Because it's Ryze who wants to shop very early, get a tier, they're happy to give up 1 buff on their jungler, on score. He's not going to be ganking anyway. He's kind of been looking for whatever camp he can get rather than any sort of aggressive play. And if that means that Ryze can get his tier, his catalyst, and get going, that's prized more than a 2-buff start for score.
Score making his way towards mid lane here, only level 3. Has now lost his blue buff by now, and looks like that back you were talking about is going to come in, but in comes Score into the red side jungle. Looking to get some wards down, might even go for some of these camps.
Going to start on the Raptors because of both people backing, but this is the teleport. He's going to actually get an offensive teleport from the Ryze to help him out.
Just jungling side by side right now is the Sejuani and the Zac. Score does hop out of there, and Sejuani cleans up the crumbs of that camp.
I see what you did there, Valdez. Yeah. Score going to get level 4 from the Scuttle Crab, so we can tell he's about to camp behind his opponent, SeongHwan, which is fine. That just lanes finding the best back time and the most safety possible is what's prized. I want to talk also about the starting item from Smeb here. You notice Relic Shield. There's a bit of Relic Shield on patch 8.2 on top lane Gangplank as well, but for different reasons. We're still on 8.1s. There's still the Quest Shield. The theory here is that the only kind of trading you're going to be doing is Parlay. Parlay does actually get 10 gold. You get the Bandit effect from the Parlay. It's also a bit of health as well. So he'll get the shield eventually. When his jungler comes, he'll help clear. But in lane, he certainly knows his role. He's certainly going to be dictated to by Lindarang.
You can see already a small CS lead up in the top side. Not really anything to be like, whoa, that's way too much. But he's holding his own up in the top side with the Relic Shield we were talking about. Picks up the Sheen. Going back in the lane, can spam those parleys a little bit more. Do a little bit more damage to Lindarang.
Still has no sustain. You'll notice he started potions, hasn't gone for any other purchases. And hey, we know about a Gathering Storm here by Lava.
It says in Korean, like, they're trying to find out who is taking Gathering Storm.
We
so maybe they're going to show us more other people.
We asked for it last time, Valdez. SpoTV's listening.
By the way, the only...
Watching SeongHwan come for the counter jungle here. Jungling in the face. He also has Lava roaming up. So a lot of options here. This is full power. And because they see no sustain on Gangplank, they know they can walk up and basically do what they want in the face of the Pirate.
Curious to see if Lindarang did pick up the Gathering Storm. Has Sorcery as his primary with the Aerie. Just only offensive here. But, you know, we talk a lot about how Scorch is a pretty good... just a rune to pick up when you are trying to be super aggressive in the lane.
Yeah, you would expect Scorch because he knows his role is to hold down the Gangplank. If you get to 40 minutes and you've got an extra, 50 AD, probably not going to help you out just because of the composition you're facing compared to lane control with the Scorch. Redemption, the most tilting of random things to pick up, is picked up by Lava.
At least Scar was able to smite away the big one because he lost every single small raptor there to one paddle star.
Consider though, look at the jungle CS here. It's 4 CS to a camp. It's actually no camp lead for SeongHwan. He's actually, if anything, behind Score, who's done better than expected given how the start of the game opened up. Trying to contest the red buff, understandable. This is the right play from ROX Tigers. For now, no collapse from KT.
Lindarang making his presence known. Smite is going to come in here. not able to hand that one off to Lindarang, who is pushing away Score, who, by the way, did not have a smite, so would not have been able to just jump in and get the smite down in any case.
But if we take a step back and say what happened in the early game, Sejuani and Zach, no difference. Observer is showing us that at some point there was actually the stopwatch used by Mada. That was off screen. Don't know if it was a fat finger or an all-in attempt, can't tell, but important to know it's down. SeongHwan looking for Smeb.
Smeb is level 6 here, gonna throw down that cannon barrage. Lindarang out of mana, trying to get the stun down. Look at the damage coming back. Smeb looking for the 2v1. That's gonna be the first blood. The flash
He's got red buff.
But that's not gonna be enough. Lava coming in with the paddle star, and is gonna lock down Pawn here. Now make that a 2-on-1. In comes the Taric from the bottom side. He's got his own unsealed spell, but the flash forward though, missing that auto attack. Actually hitting the creep, not able to kill Pawn here.
It was so important for Pawn that he actually brought the minion line along because it actually gave him a way to juke from the paddle star and the trouble bubble. Teleports are bound because there is 3 unsealed spellbooks on the side of ROX Tigers. BBQ able to pick up wins yesterday from this multiple unsealed spellbook usage. Here we see 3 on ROX Tigers. The bot lane committing both their members to topside, or the Taric to topside, did really withdraw some of their lane control and a lot of turret HP. And in the end, it's only a 1-for-1 with Smeb pulling off a hero's blade, turning around again.
Yeah. Didn't even necessarily need the Taric, you know? It could have just paddle starred Smeb down and then walked away and not fully committed to the kill onto Pawn, but you understand they were looking for the 2v1. Lava now with red buff, taking that away. Okay, there you go.
That was Zonia's, by the way. He has stopwatch as well.
Yeah.
I know how you might make the mistake.
Coming later. Yeah, we'll see. I didn't get to see his redemption. Get to see how that was used. But we're going to take a look at the replay up on the top side.
The gank makes sense, but consider that Lindarang uses the last bit of his mana for the E, and so only has auto attacks. He switches forms. They turn on to SeongHwan, who actually burns down to the passive there, of all things, on Smeb. Came up at the right time. Nice little paddle star timing from Lava. The fact that Pawn was able to get out with his minion line is so key here, because they turn onto him. The minions are in position. Sorry, no ability to hit Pawn. He gets away. In live, though, we see a jungle attempt by Score, who hits level 7. Might occur right now.
A jungle attempt.
Yeah.
Many say he's still trying, but here we go. Gang coming on in. He's going to get the knock-up and the kidnap. And no flash currently on Lindarang means that he is in a lot of trouble. Going to give that kill on over to Smeb up in the top lane.
Them getting top lane control, the river control of the control ward, and just in general, having first rotation through the river should not happen against Jayce, Zoe, and Sejuani, given how this game started. That was the area that ROX Tigers are trying to focus on. That's where I said they would be strongest. The fact that their strength is being turned into a weakness by KT Rolster, and with the scaling advantage to KT, definitely concerning. The Gangplank now has 2 kills against the Jayce. Might be 10 CS up, but nothing to write home for Lindarang.
Well, you talked about the 2 kills. Trinity Force picked up right now by Smeb, first item. He's going to begin to do a lot more damage than just the 42% kill, or rather damage participation that he has right now. And Score is making another visit up into the top side. Lindarang still does not have his flash.
He has to actually stay quite far away, otherwise Smeb will give relic shield stacks to him, which is always an amusing way to give up your jungler location. He's in a ward now.
Yeah, sitting on a ward, so Lindarang knows about it. The enemy team knows about it.
Something to remember if you're lane ganking for your relic shield top laner is that, yes, you're very likely to be given away by a CS. Again, we have seen this with the new quest systems, just for the ability to get the Sightstone effect, to get the wards. Because of the lower cost, 500 on the quest rather than the 750, but we're still in quest shield territory. How about a turret dive?
Yeah, they don't even need to dive. I mean, you have Score and Smeb coming up here. Ryze just shows himself on the Scuttle Crab, and he's like, okay, I didn't give up too much lane pressure, and we might even get the first blood turret here. It gets very low up on the top side.
Very, very infrequently do you see a Jayce in an item disadvantage to a Gangplank. Things have definitely snowballed insanely for the side of KT on the top. That's bot side.
We got a knock-up here, looking to turn it around with Cosmic Radiance, but can't really expect too much action in the bottom side.
I saw 2 support ultimates. I was ready to get excited, but not to be this time.
It's kind of like Ezreal, where they just throw it out. They're like, oh, you might as well use this. We'll just regen our mana anyway. See what happens.
SeongHwan's trying to make a contest on the 3rd red. Score still hasn't been able to pick up a red.
It's level 8 to the level 7 of SeongHwan. We are going to have the ultimate forced on in here, but he's going to bring him on into that turret, and here comes Pawn. Going to be able to Realm Warp on in. Can they get the damage down to kill this tanky guy? It is going to go down. Even Smeb making his way. And the true shot barrage from bottom lane going a little bit too deep there with SeongHwan.
And that completes the game plan from ROX going horribly wrong. They started off smartly, but ever since Gangplank was able to turn around 2 kills, and now the jungler gives up a kill, things have gone from bad to worse for ROX Tigers. Whatever they considered in Champ Select, whatever their coach told them to do this game, no longer is it going to be a viable strategy with how strong KT are in an accelerated fashion.
Lindarang just having a terror lane after the Trinity Force Gangplank up on the top side. Pawn, nice little roam on over. I wouldn't even call it a roam. It was just SeongHwan getting super deep, almost under the 2nd mid lane turret, trying to go for that kill. And maybe just trying to force a little bit of desperation.
And it was unnecessary because you could understand the play if Score actually had his passive down, but his passive was up. So I'm not really sure what they thought they'd be claiming apart from clearing away his passive. Not enough damage on the Sejuani to kill him through that. So very bizarre choice. Heavily punished first Lindarang, then SeongHwan. Top side in disarray. Is going to see the replay here. Again, the red buff contest is fine. The smite does come through from Score, but SeongHwan invests the ultimate and then gets kidnapped because he spends too much time before he actually tries to disengage. Very easy for Pawn to walk up level 1 on the Realm Warp. Still enough of a jump to be able to take him down. Kind of a comedy of errors from the ROX Tigers puts them in a deep hole, and they also have all these unsealed spellbooks that for now, if they're not used for playmaking, don't really have any consequence either.
Yeah. Had the Paddle Star hit, I think there might have been a bigger case to make for them to go for that kill, but it missed. But either way, we're going to have another shot here at killing this Zac. Paddle Star hits this time afterwards, but is it enough? He has the Proto Belt, but does not commit to going in onto Score anymore.
Still trying to battle ward his top lane.
Yeah, we got another fight here. Lots of damage coming out from the Cannon Barrage. And he's even going to flash here. One more parlay will do it.
Oh.
He can't quite get in range. He's so close. Here comes Bond, though, from the mid lane. And down he will go. Realm Warp, he had just a level 11. There's that level 2 Realm Warp you were talking about. And they pick up another kill.
This is the KR Fiesta we wanted with KT Rolster styling, even with the scaling advantage, even though things will get better for KT Rolster as the game goes on. The early game has also been their friend as Ornn.
Oh. Deft isn't missing his skill shots right now. Look at the damage even coming out from the Ornn. Stopwatch coming in, though, and a TP, and Sejuani making their way into the lane. Zac followed up from behind. A little bit more damage will do it here out to the Ornn, and Sangyoon actually does dodge, but is going to get knocked his head together with one of the creeps in the end. So far a 1-for-1, but Smeb making his way down with Pawn means this turret should go down.
Yeah, the secondary objective of the turret that can turn onto the Mountain Drake as well. KT Rolster 5,000 gold ahead with a Ryze Gangplank draft. Massively ahead.
So good. Yeah, we're only 16 minutes into the game, Papa. It's not very often you see a gold lead like this at this point in the game.
And we very rarely get 7 kills in 16 minutes, so we appreciate the bounty of fun that KT Rolster have brought us here.
It's funny,
poking around.
Whenever you cast with Achilleos, it's like the longest games of all time, and then you come to SPO and we get like these clown fiestas, all the action in the world, quick days. They like you over here, Papa.
We're just trying to set up a viewer profile. If you want the long, thought-out thinkers, the art house movies, you go to OGN. If you want Pirates of the Caribbean, have we got a couple of days of League of Legends for you?
Well, we know it gets more viewers in the real world, but we'll see in the future here. Pawn trying to get some more damage down here onto Lindarang. One more rotation, but SeongHwan, his big buddy, his big brother, comes on in, blocks for him.
Deft pushing up 3 turrets in this game when you're against a Jayce comp. 3-0 would be insanity, but we're fast approaching it. Deft continues to find it very difficult to miss his Mystic shots.
Although he just went right through the goalpost there on the Raptors somehow.
KT continue to push up. If you look at the mini-map, they've had control of the top side for a while. Very defensive wards from ROX Tigers. They still have Sangyoon on the Kog'Maw, so while the scaling seems better for KT Rolls, they have more options. Kog'Maw can still do some nasty things as the game goes on. At one item, though, he's going to need a very extended fight as mid lane.
Here's the Forge God coming on in, but he gets stunned and can't pong it back. So they will not have the full engage they were looking for. Smeb now trying to lay down a cannon barrage and some barrels. He's going to hit down the key there underneath the turret. In comes Score now, and even the Realm Warp trying to go for the kidnap, but Lava does have his stopwatch still. Gonna get the sleep onto Ornn here, but does dodge it with his W. That's still available on this patch.
We can just about breathe, Valdez, but KT Rolster are playing like they have a 7 p.m. appointment with how fast and loose they're playing this early game. Gold lead has now grown around 6,000. Deft happy to poke in the mid lane, even though one Paddle Star will probably kill him at this point. It's against Morellonomicon and also the Haunting Guys coming through from Lava, who's no joke. He's the only person who you can kind of give the pass mark for the early game.
Yeah.
Rest of his team been wayward. You can see Deft. He never lets up.
He's so annoying. The worst kind of Ezreal to deal with. Even trying to get in there, but not quite close enough. Does sail wide. KT getting to work on the Rift Herald at the same time as pushing mid. Deft now at full health. Still going to go back anyway.
Got the Rift Herald. They can use it in mid lane, and one charge will take down the turret, or they can hold on to it to try to make this a very, very long map at 19 minutes into the game. Gangplank is up in CS on a Jayce by 15. That's pretty awful for the Jayce. Seeing a replay of the turret dive. Once again, SeongHwan tries to come in with the ultimate. Last three have all gone a bit wide in one way or the other. Smeb uses his ult, waits for the barrel. No one is ranged, so they can't actually kill the barrels under the turret. So they're able to clean up Taric, and then Score decides, let's keep going.
Yeah, nice timing there on the stopwatch by Lava. He's had a pretty good game on the Zoe, all things considered. His team around him isn't really having the most fun game. He's sitting at 2-0 and going for that just straight damage route. No Frost Queen's claim. No BS for this Zoe.
Definitely one way to approach this. Meanwhile, Pawn has gone very heavy on magic resist. He has gone for the I want to disregard being initiated on by the Sejuani and the Zoe, and potentially the on-hit Kog'Maw as well, with Banshee Veil already complete, way before something like a Seraph's Embrace. He now has 175 MR at 20 minutes. Good luck doing damage to him.
He's not doing all that much damage himself. Does have a bit of the AP from the Banshee Veil, but not as much as he could potentially have. But either way, going to be a bit more of a tanky side. Here comes Score from the bottom side. Call the Forge God coming in. Going to try to get the kidnap, but does miss on SeongHwan, actually. That was an interesting interaction. Did he not get kidnapped because he was knocked up?
I didn't quite catch it.
I'd like to get a replay of that, but I'm not quite sure.
Don't be too optimistic. I think it's more just about the general playstyle from KT, who nowhere is sacred when it comes to initiation from the Zac. Score clearly is very comfortable and very confident rolling in today. It's going to be the last outer turret going down. Smeb draws the heal out of Sangyoon.
Dealing that damage. I mean, Deft has got the red buff now, so he doesn't really miss Mystic shots, as we've said before, but he's going to get hit by a Paddle Star himself a little bit late there on the Arcane Shift. Rift Herald, Shelly making her way down the mid lane now.
There's a lot of meanwhiles that happening at the same time, Valdez.
He actually never stops in this game.
The Ryze is still pushing. Smeb has to use his stopwatch finally.
He almost gets dazzled there and nearly baits the team of ROX to get in, but smartly they do back off. He does survive, just barely there with a sliver of health.
The full court press is very rarely enacted with no Baron buff and 21 minutes into the game. But already we saw winning trades by the Ryze and top side as KT wantonly push forward. 4-man strong, threatening a dive from Score, whether it's smart or not. They feel so strong and so comfortable. Score with a Warmogs this early into the game can disregard damage with reckless abandon. And Smeb, he's looking for free food, trying to take down the Jayce.
always threatening. He's got a lot of movement speed now. Yomu's finished up, another Zeal. Charging at the Jayce, not scared of anything at this point.
And the build also tells you that he is in no way building to survive. You know, usually you can see things like Asterix Gauge in the first 2 to 3 items. We remember the performance by Keen against Vladimir, where he went Resolve Tree, Grasp of the Undying, and Spirit Visage second. This is the opposite. This is the I want to do max damage build. Phantom Dancer into Infinity Edge. Going to be coming through from Smeb. He just wants to kill Jayce in the side lane and also do explosive damage in a team fight.
Finished up his Phantom Dancer. Now, perhaps a Infinity Edge next will mean he's going to be critting like nobody else. Going to get another Consolation Drake here for KT. Not now, really the one they wanted, but it's nice. And
now you consider the position for ROX Tigers where the Jayce can't really enter lane against the Gangplank. Awkward thing to say, but with the items where they're at, that's the reality. 1.5 items for Lindarang against 3-item Gangplank. The Ryze already has the rotation advantage and can take Zoe in a side lane. They have insane engage range from the Zac, and there's control wards in the enemy jungle, and they can never use teleports or any gimmicky strategies with the Unsealed Spellbook because they don't have enough information to make safe plays. So in every single way, ROX Tigers are being dictated to by KT Rolster.
It's a nice shock blast by Lindarang, but as you said, he's just trying to survive right now against the Gangplank. Even Scorer making his presence felt in the red side jungle. SeongHwan even scared to check his own jungle at this point. With all the control wards that are coming down here. He'll be charging in now. You can see what the barrels are doing to Lindarang already. Can't wait until he gets his Infinity Edge next.
Could still be a Guardian Angel if he wants to ice the game at 25 minutes, but Infinity Edge would be the real man's choice, and that's usually the way Smeb goes.
It's usually the way Gangplank goes, you know.
Yep.
He's a very manly pirate.
Smeb still getting a couple of pot shots on this turret, and Score looking for a dive.
Trying to bait that in. In comes the Counter Barrage. Nice interrupt there by SeongHwan. He's even going to lay down the ultimate, but there are 2 other people behind him. Here comes the Forge God. Can he land it? Should be a kill. Looks like he does not even get a chance. Somehow.
I guess he messed up. He could have also been trouble bubbled. I didn't see. He was off screen there.
Yeah, it might have been.
And no secondary connection. I was looking for a ranged interrupt. That's anyone made sense. They're going on lava.
Whoa.
I've never seen him asleep and as a puddle of goo for 3 seconds.
That reminds me of that old show. It was Alex Mack, I think. Did you ever watch that one?
Yeah.
Where she used to turn into like a puddle of goo?
We're aging ourselves. Why do you always age us, Brendan? You're supposed to be the young one.
What?
The Secret Diary of Alex Mack is super old show.
That was one that I was even young when I was watching that. My brothers used to watch it a lot. My 2 older brothers, but I'd always watch as well. Pretend to know what was going on in my little 5-year-old brain.
You've come a long way from there, Valdez.
Yeah.
So now you commentate League of Legends.
Now I talk about esports.
You make it even better with your hyuk style laugh. It's great.
Oh, boy.
I appreciate your commitment to your character.
Yeah. I am the American on the broadcast.
People don't know this, but you're actually
some of the American culture here.
People don't know this, but you're actually a refined intellectual when you're off the broadcast. You know, like very snooty.
What exactly do you mean?
Oh, League of Legends. Well, the League of Legends has been exclusively played by KT Rolster this game. Lava's in that awkward spot where he feels like he's flex queued with 4 other people, and wondered how this went.
Yeah.
Zoes have kind of been that way this week. It feels like the Zoes individually have been doing fine, but around them, the roaming that certainly Ryze does as a counterpoint to the Zoe has been very effective. We've seen a lot of Zoes isolated. They've got some sick damage items, but if a Baron buff's there, if the tanks are strong enough, they can disregard the first few rotations. SeongHwan in particular has kind of been ulting on site to Zax a bit too much in this particular game, and now they find themselves in such a deep hole. Only Baron buff can really cement the game for KT, but it doesn't feel very far away either.
Yeah. You're talking about the Sejuani ultimates. I think every single one has hit Zac.
Or missed.
Yeah. It's been aimed at Zac, I should say. We might see another one here as he's coming behind Score, but now Sangyoon in a little bit of trouble. In comes Mata. Lava trying to be the helper here. But coming in from behind the flank, another one hits Zac in the back, but they are going to going to be kidnapped on in, and he's got a Warmogs. They're just not going to be able to kill him here, even through the Cosmic Radiance. Juan coming on in, saying goodbye to the Kog'Maw. And just Lindarang in the back, awkwardly not able to do anything as his team disappears.
You gotta wonder what Score said to SeongHwan in solo queue, because it's personal between these two. I understand the ROX coach said, you need to battle ward, hold down the Zac, but he's taking it too far, Valdez. He needs to calm down and do something to this Deft, who's free farmed in the game, to the Gangplank, who's 50 CS up a Jayce. That's cool to say. They got the Baron buff that I said would be the worst ever scenario. We're going to see the replay. Score starts to fall low, but he was ulted at full health because that's just the way that the ROX Tigers roll.
Mata having a nice performance on the Ornn this time around. Gets the double knockup onto the bottom lane.
And then just a lot of cleaning up here from our favorite Fiesta on the Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
It's an esports morning, Valdez.
Yeah.
You know it's true.
We start at 5. It was a little bit early. I remember when I first started casting LCK. Like, 5? Really?
And a lot of people come into chats or respond to when we talk about this stuff, and they're like, what are you talking about? I have to wake up at 7:30. Yeah. And while I lived that life, you know, I had a career before I was a caster, and I understand that pain. We also finish at, you know, 12, 1 a.m. So, you know, we're just living different lives.
Not here at Spo TV.
That's true.
At least.
The 10 p.m. dream is real.
Yeah. 10 p.m. is a very common occurrence in this studio. We've had like 11 p.m. night.
Maybe it's the area we're in, because of course we're in Gangnam here, which is a very vibrant city, whereas Sangam is, you know, a lot of different media companies. It's a lot more buttoned up. So maybe the players come here and just get excited, want to go and sample the nightlife, and also just get on the Rift and press all their buttons.
Ooh, Lindarang.
Score definitely wants to press all his buttons.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of buttons pressed here, as they do go a little bit too far onto Lindarang that time around, but it's really just about the poke. You were talking about the poke on the side of ROX, but KT making it look like they're the team with the poke comp. It's just because they're so far ahead.
I mean, Score is playing Zac like a poke champion this game. Every time they're under a turret, he just dives in, wants to do 500 damage, wants the highest DPM Zac performance of all time.
Yeah. He's at full health again. Warmogs low.
Just Zac things. SeongHwan has his Warmogs at this point as well. Smeb has now split pushed an inhibitor turret. They don't have an inhibitor yet, but Ryze bringing in the minion wave on bot side. Look at that.
Okay, they're going to do a nice bit of damage here. They might even get his passive. Oh, man. Will it happen? It might not happen. Okay, finally it happened. By the way, Kog'Maw died at the same time down underneath the turret. TP's going to come in. Score is totally fine. And ROX just floundering around, looking for a kill, whatever they can get at this point.
Valdez, 4 people ran at a Zac while their Kog'Maw was assassinated. That's not how you play a Kog'Maw comp.
I don't even know what's happening anymore in this game. ROX, I mean, they go 0-2 to King's Zone, having a little bit of trouble. Oh, the Zoe gets another kill, though. That's nice. And Deft is the one that does go down, funnily enough. I think the Zoe's sitting at 3-0 at this point. Just sitting here in the solo queue, not happy about her teammates at the moment.
This has been a really dumb game.
3-1. Yeah, it has. But it's fun, you know.
Is this good practice for KT Rolster for King's Zone?
I'd say definitely no. To be like, yeah. You know, I feel like KT is definitely a team that rides high on emotions at times, and they might come out of this one saying, we're the best team in the world, KZ, no problem.
So they once again hit an ult onto Zac. Again. I believe they've never aimed an ult on anyone else. It's always been on Zac. Meanwhile, literally 3 people run at the Kog'Maw. Hey guys, Taric, anybody, stand next to the Kog'Maw so he can do damage.
All things being said, it's been a fun game so far to cast. This has been enjoyable so far. KT taking their time with it as well. They're like, okay, we don't want to kill you yet. Let's get another Drake.
When they say that Korea only provides the slow snooze fests, may I present to you KT Rolster versus ROX Tigers Game 1.
Definitely KT and KZ making it known that they are the teams that provide the fun games, the entertaining ones.
I think Mata wants to get in. He's got his Ornn item. Good news. Got it very early. Wanted to have the upgraded locket. He's also got Zeke's convergence. You never see that, but, you know, he could have a BF sword and it'd be fine, so he's going for fun.
Why not at this point?
Exactly.
It's a lot of damage there. It's really just a competition between Gangplank and Ezreal at this point. Smeb and Deft, who's going to get #1.
I mean, one crit barrel could be like 4,000 damage to the side of ROX Tigers. Speaking of crits.
Okay, we have the Forge God coming in. He's going to knock him up in the back line. Cannon Barrage trying to trade some more damage here as Smeb, as Deft gets some free damage onto Zoe earlier on. Hits another barrel there onto Key.
Score is feeling excluded. Wasn't able to channel 2 elastic slingshots in a row. SeongHwan just waiting to see him to ult him on side again. It's like we're in the Old West and they have to run Score out of town.
Okay, he's going to get another opportunity here. He does miss.
Got him!
Okay, I finally hit him again. Number 6 or 7 here in this game. Score gets ulted once again. This is unbelievable. What is this? I don't even know what's happening anymore.
This is League of Legends, Valdez. This is life or death.
Ooh.
It's death.
Smeb and Pawn. The 1-2 punch onto that poor Taric. Didn't do much in this one, but look at this. They're just trying to get as much damage as possible. They don't even want to end the game here. Bada wants to get into the fun, as does Score. The double knock up here into the kidnap. Don't end the game, they say. But finally it does end. 16-3, 33 minutes in. And definitely a clown fiesta. A fun one there for KT. Just totally wiped the floor with ROX tonight.
If you told me this was an exhibition match for sponsor reasons, I would believe you, Valdez. Did not feel like high-level LCK competition. But KT Rolster can only play to the level of their opponents, and ROX Tigers, after a strong start to the season, they lost to a FLICKR, Heartbreaker, lost to Kingzone one-sided. Their mentality coming in here seemed very questionable. The draft certainly was a smart one. They could definitely win around topside. If you gave Kingzone ROX Tigers draft, you know what they would do. But instead, ROX Tigers made some mistakes. And then from the mid-game onwards, I have no expert analysis to talk about why SeongHwan hit every ultimate on Zac or slightly missed Zac. He was always aiming for Zac. Meanwhile, Sangyoon is wondering how everyone, including his Taric, was chasing after the Zac bloblets. Really got to kill that tank while your Kog'Maw dies.
Yeah, to be fair, he even seemed like he was locked in the hellish solo queue. His entire team just running away from him as they try to play the Kog'Maw comp. There's not much he can do. I mean, he's trying to defend the turret as his team runs away. He's going to die.
Video games can be fun, Valdez. That's what we're learning here.
That they can. KT Rolster coach still has stuff to stay. The coach on the left did not look too happy, funnily enough. And the winner of the damage duel was Ezreal. Deft does take the victory over Smeb in the top lane.
And usually when we see Gangplank and Zac, you expect a slight gold lead for ROX Tigers. Lanes they can win around. A first brick, no, they didn't get a turret. They got one at one point in this game, but no other ones. 11-1 was the tower score. No gold lead ever. They were actually behind the entire game as Zac was able to keep up in camps even if he was 3-buffed to start off. And then Gangplank started solo killing the Jayce, and you're like, uh-oh. And it only got worse from there for ROX Tigers. A fun game, like you say, 33 minutes of bliss for people who like sick outplays and diving into turrets, but not a great one for ROX Tigers.
We can hopefully get another game like that here for game number 2. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.